Okay, yesterday, boys and girls, we did not get to finish this because it was the end of the day and we had to start packing up. Make sure you're tracking me, please. One thing I want to talk about, our very last card, if you remember from yesterday, Miss Hicks gave you cards and you had to sort them whether they were a reversible or an irreversible change. The last card that I had pulled, when you had to come up to the center of the room and you had to stand whether something was a reversible or an irreversible change, the last card that I had picked was chocolate. Okay? Most people, I think, were standing over here, but I had Jacob standing over here. And I asked Jacob what he had thought, and I asked, I think, Annabelle and Jace what they had thought. Annabelle and Jace told me that it was a reversible change, and Jacob thought that it was irreversible. So I want to talk about that real quick before we move on. The chocolate bar that was melted, is that a reversible or an irreversible change? I like seeing all these hands and these trackers. Liam, the melted chocolate bar, is that a reversible or irreversible change? Thank you for tracking, Liam.
Irreversible?
Why do you think it's irreversible?
Because if you melt the chocolate, you can't put it back into the solid chocolate.
Okay, so he thinks that if I melt the chocolate, I can't put it back into a solid. What happens if I take that chocolate and I put it in the refrigerator? Or the freezer? Either one. Nate, what do you think is going to happen?
I think it's going to turn into a solid again.
Okay, it's going to turn into a solid again. Nate is correct. Now, is it going to be the same shape? Is it going to be all nice in the wrapper? And is it going to look like it did before it was melted? No, it's not. You're right. But is it still going to be chocolate?
Yeah.
Right. So if it's still the same thing, it hasn't changed. It's still chocolate. It just looks kind of weird now, right? Just looks kind of silly. It doesn't look like a nice, neat bar anymore. But is it still chocolate?
Yeah.
Okay. So if it's still chocolate, reversible or irreversible? Jace?
Irreversible.
It's still chocolate. So is it reversible or irreversible?
Reversible.
Reversible, because it can go back. It's changing states of matter. If it melts, then it's a liquid. And then if it freezes again, it's a solid, but it's still chocolate. Okay.
You can freeze it.
So boys and girls, we're going to take a look at this question again, because I know, again, yesterday we were having to pack up before we got to really take a lot of time. So I want to make sure that you understand what the question is asking, because yesterday I had a lot of questions like, Miss Hicks, I don't know how to do this. And I know that you know how to do this, right? Because we've been talking about this for 2 weeks now. We've been talking about physical and chemical changes. And we've been talking about reversible and irreversible changes. Yeah, Jay says, Miss Hicks, we've been talking about it more than that, and I agree. Can you get the door, Annabelle? Thank you. So, our learning target is I can use evidence to describe how some changes caused by heating and cooling can be reversed and some cannot be reversed. So, in science class, we experimented with heat on several different objects. Some of these changes can be reversed and some cannot. Yesterday, when we looked at our target, we underlined reversible and irreversible. You told me reversible, it is the same thing. You can change it back to what it was. And an irreversible change was a new thing. You cannot change it back to what it was. We have talked about example A and example B before. Example A is ice that has been melted. Example B, Ezekiel, need your eyes, thank you. Example B is wood that has been burned. So we have seen these examples before, correct? Yes. So it says, for each example, identify whether it is a reversible or irreversible change. Use evidence from the chart, so this is the chart, to explain your thinking. So before I give it to you to show me what you know, I want to talk about what you might write. Please put that away. My first step for race is restating. How might I start answering this question using race? Restate. I have one hand. I think I can get more. Please sit up. Jacob, how might I restate the question?
You could do, I think one is irreversible and one is reversible.
Okay, so you could, Jacob is saying, I think one is reversible and one is irreversible. But if I'm going to start restating, if I have to answer A and B, probably going to start with A. And I could say, the ice is A, and you have to plug it in with what you know, reversible or irreversible change, because. So, for part A, if I'm going to restate and say, ice is A, and then you have to plug in, reversible or irreversible change, because, how am I going to restate for part B with the burnt wood? Ronnie, how might I restate for the burnt wood? Track Ronnie, please.
The burnt wood is A.
And then you're going to plug in your answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I love it. He said the burnt wood is A, and then he was pausing like, okay, Miss Hicks, this is where we're going to put in our answer. Is a reversible or irreversible change because. So that is your restate, and when you finish that answer, when you finish that sentence, you're giving your answer. So that's R and A already done for you. So you already have half of race done. It says use evidence from the chart to explain your thinking. Part A with the ice and it's melting. Is that a reversible or an irreversible change? If the ice is melting, is that a reversible or an irreversible change? Ariana Schmidt?
Irreversible.
Say it again.
Reversible.
Reversible. Why is it reversible? Why is this a reversible change, the ice melting? I like that I have my trackers following me. Madeline, why is the ice a reversible change?
It's because you can refreeze it.
Okay, because I can refreeze it. So for part C, if I'm going to cite evidence from the chart, I can say something like, in the chart, I see that the ice is melting to a liquid. I know that if I put that liquid, that water, back into the freezer, that it can go back into ice. For part B, you can say, I see that the wood is burnt. It has been burnt. Can I unburn wood, Ezekiel?
No.
Say it again.
No.
No, I can't unburn wood. So that's what they want. That's what I would like for you when you are citing your evidence. Use the pictures to help you. Tell me what you see. And then explain. I know this because, and explain why you know it. And you do know it. Are there any questions? No questions? Alrighty. I'm excited for you to show me what you know. I have the papers from yesterday that I will pass out. So I have Annabelle's, Madeline's, Jacob's, Talia left, Jace. Yes, ma'am. So please do not forget to put your name on here.
I already did this yesterday.
We didn't get to finish it. We didn't finish it.
given it in 5 minutes. I didn't. That's it.
Okay, but we didn't answer it correctly. Hold on just a second.
It's also